I see Doug. Okay, well, when you feel like it, you can unmute and say hello. Well, I'm actually I got an early start. I'm just finishing my coffee. So it's uh
Delicious.
it's 8:30 a.m. here Friday morning in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So we'll see. I have no idea how many people will show today. We oscillate back and forth on a more comfortable time for the US and the West and the more comfortable time for Europe. So today is more of a North American kind of day. We'll see. Ariel? Okay, I like meeting new folks. Palita, how are things in LA?
Things are pretty good, pretty good. I'm on my fourth microdosing program,
Whoa.
not consecutively,
Okay. Well, you're a
but
champ.
over
Hmm.
since they first started. So,
Yeah. What do you think?
well, pretty good. I mean, obviously you can't, I don't do them, I wait, a
Hmm.
month or 6, 8 weeks or something in
Yeah.
between at least.
Just, just like
Um,
they say, right? Just like they say.
me, I'm a big fan of the microdosing, the brain gym, I love the new neuroathletics category.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
so meditation, Tibetan and Zen are my favorites.
Okay. Whoa. I love it. I love it.
So and yeah, I swear by the sleep, the sleep
Yeah.
programs, the during the day ones. I've been using the past couple of days. I've been using um, daybreak and then doing an
Mhm.
afternoon rest.
Yeah, cool. You know,
So
the it's an open secret now that I have a pretty mm, structured concept or template. Hey, Doug.
hi.
And so let chit chat just a little bit as we warm up, see who shows up. Um, because by the way, this is not just here that we're also streaming live into other platforms. So we have this sort of face-to-face platform, but we also are out, into multiple platforms. So I'll
I
get
did have a question for you.
yeah, sure. What?
And I think it's a pretty simple one. So, I've been working with Michelle, with the Parkinson's and different
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
One of the things that he seems to get a lot of success with
yeah.
is um, specifically the just let go in sleep, because he seems to get way better sleep
Yeah.
when he does that program during the day.
Hmm.
And it makes all of his all across the board symptoms better,
Hmm.
not just the tremors, but the cognitive stuff. So I
Sure.
wanted to share that with you.
Well, okay. We're working with, generally speaking, we're working with neuroplasticity. And when we look at neuroplasticity, we have to consider it basically in with two different perspectives. One is the short-term state shifting, and then the other is the long-term trait shaping. Now, because a person that has Parkinson's, for example, Michelle's a dear friend of mine. So for those of you that don't know, Paula and I and her friend Michelle are very long old time friends of mine from my life in Southern California. Anyway, so when there is a brain that I'll call a more normative brain that isn't being challenged by some kind of, frankly, neurodegenerative condition, we can expect that a series of short-term state shifts will evolve towards a more long-term trait shaping. One of the elements of a short-term state shift is that the stimulus must be there regulating the process. However, once you get to long-term trait shaping, the brain has, you could say, learned or habituated, so you don't need that stimulus there all the time. However, you may need to introduce the stimulus occasionally as a reinforcement. So that's with what we'll call a normative brain. Now, when there's a degenerative process, that long-term trait shaping is being obstructed because there is a condition in there that wants to impose itself on that training, happens to be pathological. So a person in this situation will return repeatedly to the short-term state shift. And you keep on doing that so that you have a kind of counterforce to the degeneration. Okay. In the process of a neuroplastic, actually all kinds of processes neurologically, all kinds of regulatory processes, that we have the circadian cycle. And the circadian cycle is fundamental to all sorts of processes, especially processes of change, because each aspect of the circadian cycle plays a certain role. I'm getting a little bit technical here, but I think it's okay. I won't go too far. In a neuroplastic stimulation, there are four very predictable stages or phases that integrate. And I'm answering your question in maybe like a weird way, but I'll
Yeah.
get to the therefore. That the first thing is what's called neurostimulation, and
Mhm.
this is a very important element, and it's something that is most evident in the 1 to 2 hours after the light and sound end. What we call
Mhm.
that hyperplastic period, where the brain is hypersensitized. That's that's the first stage of a process, the earliest first stages of digestion. If you eat food, you stop eating, you start digesting. After you digest, you start to absorb, and then finally there's assimilation. And that process does not happen within a couple of hours. It takes time for the body to assimilate nutrients at a cell level. So when it comes to the brain, you've got that first 1 to 2 hours, and then it goes from neurostimulation to what's called neuromodulation. And
Mhm.
modulation is in the 8 hour span following the initial period. And you'll notice that our 24-hour cycle, biologically, we chop it into 3 8-hour sections, meaning our sleep is conventionally considered at about 8 hours. So then you've got neurostimulation, a couple of hours, neuromodulation rounds out at 8 hours, give or take. Then you've got the neurorelaxation, which is over the 24-hour period, and that encompasses the sleep cycle. And that's where the changes happen. The actual changes happen during the neurorelaxation phase, where the older habits are kind of like reduced in potency and the new information has a chance to imprint. Then finally, it's called neurodifferentiation, and that's over one more circadian cycle, that's 48 hours. And then if you, by the way, if you add one more day, it's 72 hours. And that happens to be, and I think neurologically based, that happens to be the classic Fadiman 3-day microdose schedule.
Oh, okay.
So, so by doing what he's doing, meaning Michelle, with the session, that I would say it appears to be enhancing that neuro relaxation phase where the older habits are reduced and the newer information is given a chance to integrate. So I think that there's some consideration there for any person that is troubled or challenged with early or mid-phase neurodegeneration to note what you said, and that kind of influence. What time of day does he do it normally, or is there a time?
I usually run his programs around like mid to late morning between
Yeah.
10 and 11.
Yeah, so it sets the stage, I think, for that for a couple of hours and 8 hours, and then later that during the cascade into evening sleep, that I'm guessing, no, I'm not guessing, but it's an educated guess, but that's the whole point. So, okay, that's a bit technical, folks, but as I mentioned, Paula is a very old, many decades long friend, and Michelle is, and he's is it's a Parkinson thing because she's already mentioned it. I have to say something, by the way. My marketing folks have just told me that during this coffee chat, I don't do this stuff normally, but okay, that uh, during the chat. Is this backwards? It looks like backwards to me. I don't know what you see. Anyway, anybody that wants to buy a brand new NeuroVIZR during the hour can get a 30% discount on buying it. That's an awful lot of money to share. So you would go to the website, I'm told, and there's a link or whatever it's called. And if you buy it within the coffee chat, you get 30% off. I'm horrible on an infomercial. Sorry.
Is there like a some kind of, are we supposed to put something in for the discount or?
Yeah, there's a code, and
Okay.
I told them that it's going to show backwards, but it looks like coffee chat 30.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Wait a minute, I've got them scrambling. I don't know. Can you read this? I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, you
Anyway,
can. Yeah.
okay, it's coffee chat. Yeah, coffee chat 30. Okay. So, hi, Ariel, and that's Marlon. Oh God, this is like a family reunion here. Hi, Rick. I don't see you, but hi, buddy. Doug, um, what's going on? Where in the world are you, Doug? Tell me, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm in Northern California.
All right, that's a good place to be. All right. And have we had the chance to meet before? I don't recall. I'm sorry if I did.
No, I'm fairly active on Facebook, so you may have seen a few of my posts.
I have. I have actually. Yeah. Okay. And there's another friend that had messaged me, Sundari, another old friend. She's off in Florida right now. She had a couple of questions that she asked me before in text just 20 minutes ago that she wasn't quite clear about the cool down element where there are different, among other things, breathing options. And I made the mistake thinking that it was evident, but they're like bing, bing, bing tones. And these are a small collection, but of very, well-known pranayama techniques or breathing techniques. And if you want that after session support, then you can choose from there. And when the tones go up, that means inhale. When the tones go down, that means exhale. And if the tones are staying the same, then that means like hold your breath, don't breathe at that time. So you've got, very classic box breathing. It's also known as, resonant or coherent breathing from HRV studies. That's the harmony, short and long. The anxiety, well-known anxiety, nervousness dissipation techniques. So, I think even more fundamental than that is, and I've said this numerous times, that, choose the words, but I'll say that the really potent effects of a NeuroVIZR session really begin functionally when the light and sound end. And that's like, wow, what do you mean? I've already said it. I typically use the eating analogy that when you eat a meal, especially if you're hungry, it's so delightful, satisfying, it's entertaining, taste, crunch, everything like that. When you finish eating, you begin digesting. And as an analogy, when the NeuroVIZR session ends, that's when the neurological integration begins. So, famously, don't eat and run. My recommendation is when you do a session, consider the session only partly done when the light and sound end, that at that point go into the neurological digestion or integration process. Now, if you don't want to use any of the cool down choices in the nature sounds or breathing or whatever, they're all good if you like them. At least just, sit your ass down and stay there. Keep your eyes closed and simply feel what you feel and follow the feeling. That for many of us, we are meditators, or we attempt meditation, or whatever you want to think about it. But, the meditative process, at least, pretty quickly involves being sensitive to information that you are not normally aware of. So even making that transition from hello, hello, hello to, oh, there it is, that the NeuroVIZR session, when it ends, it's in this potentiated hyperplastic sensitive state neurologically. So you're going to feel things. You're going to feel a lot. And interestingly, normally, for the average person anyway, normally we don't really feel that degree of subtlety. That it takes a long, well, some people long or short, but if you decide, oh, I'm going to rest now, or I'm going to meditate now, to find that subtlety can be elusive. But after a NeuroVIZR session, I pretty much guarantee that you're going to be having sensations or feelings that are normally not evident, but there's a spotlight on them at that point. And all you've got to do is feel that feeling, meaning be attentionally aware of that feeling, and then follow it. It's like your brain is reaching out its hand to you and saying, hey, come for a walk, come with me. Attention, and this is the big deal, I speak in terms of psychoactive agents, psychoactive mind activating agents. And you probably heard this before. I'll say it again because it can be confusing. All psychedelic compounds are psychoactive agents. I'll repeat it. All psychedelic compounds are psychoactive agents, but not all psychoactive agents are psychedelic compounds. So a psychoactive agent is any form of stimulation that triggers or activates these natural, normal, and healthy extraordinary features of consciousness. The ayahuasca or acid or whatever doesn't make that happen to the brain. It doesn't screw up the brain. What it does is it triggers a potentiated state of the brain. And that state, a high energy state, is meant to be functional for short periods of time. So a psychoactive agent is any form of stimulation that alters the normative process into a higher degree of nonlinear processing. And the primal psychoactive agent is this thing we call attention. Attention. And when you think of it, what do pain and pleasure have in common? I say it too many times, I won't say it again, but to me, attention, and that's fundamental in the NeuroVIZR process. And I work with that. Every session works with that element in certain. Actually, recently I posted it in the Facebook community, just in the framework of the 9 steps of a NeuroVIZR session as a general template. Anyway, as everybody, I just talk a lot. So somebody, could you please ask a question, or I won't stop and then it'll be over. So, hi, what's up? Ariel, come on, you're smiling. What's up?
Hi, it's so good to see you.
Uh-huh.
I've been using it a lot and using it with some of my clients. I have some clients that have ADD and ADHD, and I'm curious how I know this can help in the neuroplasticity and all the things that you were just touching on. But do you have any specific ones that you think would be best for that state?
Well, I've been super busy in the past few days. I'll skip why. But I've had a specific request from practitioners. I think they're up in Germany or someplace there, that I think they're prepping a study on ADHD and ADD, and they wanted me to recommend some kind of a routine or a protocol, and I have not done it yet. So Ariel, I wish I could just say, oh yeah, I just did it and I can tell you what it is or post it. But yeah, was that something? Was that a Rick? I don't know.
That
Anyway,
was the network marketing.
oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, whatever the neuro marketing, whichever
Oh,
the
that's
people are
just that's somebody else in the company that they set this thing up for me. You know, I'm a complete well, whatever. I don't know how to do a lot of technical things, so they do it for me. Okay, about this, let's go back to that because you know, the in the NeuroVIZR app, there are a bunch of collections. And you know, I'm pleased with that, but also it's like, it's a lot of choices. I don't know what to do. By the way, you know, we have this new thing, this community circle. I guess it's an app that you go into, you'll be invited into it. And we're just packing it with stuff. One of the things I'm doing is I'm designing some simple courses in it. And the first
Cool.
one is on basic concepts. There'll be like stuff to read in a short video, and then there's basic science. So I understand that as wonderful as all the collections are, they can be confusing or you don't know where to go. So, okay, in the brain optimizers, there are these things called the dehabituators. And they are
That was what I intuitively used with him.
okay, so good. And in the personal guide, which is there to be downloaded if you haven't, that there is a description of subjective expressions or symptoms or complaints that would tend to pretty well indicate what frequency bands a person may be stuck in. And if you look at that, you can see on the ADHD, it's like a delta theta domain. But if you can look, there are 5 different frequency ranges. And if you look at there, you say, oh, that's really interesting. So the concept here is to disconnect, reconnect, reward. It's a 3-step process. And the first step, the disconnect, is when you use one of the scramblers, the habit busters, the dehabituators. So let's say that theta range, that's more for the dreamy type, right? The more the AD, not the hyper, but more of the dreamy type. It tends to be a theta delta kind of a thing. So we go, all right, guess what? I'm going to melt the glue, the fixated nature, this like hamster on the wheel that won't stop in that fixation band, that you give it a 5-minute pop and it tends to like, oh, the brain is, what happened? At that point, because the brain loves patterns. And when you scramble the eggs, when you do a habit buster, one is it helps the person shift. The other is it creates a brain appetite for a signal because the brain loves patterns. And it's like, you know, that if you spin around and around and around, like one of the famous 5 Tibetans or like you know, a Sufi or like some 3-year-old, when you spin around and around, the appetite is I want to find gravity again. Like, you know, I want the room to stop, so maybe I sit down or something and I wait for that. So that dehabituator is different analogies, right? These are images. It's kind of like spinning it around. So the brain wants a signal. At that point, you feed it the signal that it normally doesn't want to eat. Right? So you can go from a dehabituator then to, it may be a simple brain gym thing, or it could be a mind state session, or it could be, you know, any number of choices. It's like, where would I like this brain to be? Because usually it's not there. So if it's dreamy ADD, maybe they would love to come into a simple focus. So you dehabituate the theta, and then you give it a like, still point or focus or something like that. And then a little bit later in the day, then you give them something yummy as a reward associated with it. So this comes out of what's called multimodal intensive neurofeedback as a theory, because in neurofeedback, it's very common
What
to
was that again? Multimotor?
multimodal, like the mode, M-O-D-E, but M-O-D-A-L, multimodal intensive neurofeedback. The short story on that is that in neurofeedback, and there are many schools of neurofeedback, it's not a unitary theory, that's one thing, but neurofeedback therapists often discover persons having fixated bands of frequencies, and they're stuck there, fixated. And in a conventional neurofeedback, which is basically a subjective come and go, give and take thing, like breathe in, take this, you can see whether it shifts or not. Nobody knows why, what's going on. It's like a biofeedback process. Anyway, what I'm told, I'm not a neurofeedback therapist, but what I'm told by neurofeedback therapists conventionally is that many fixations in conventional neurofeedback, which is mostly, an interactive psychological process, takes between 10 and 30 sessions, which is a lot of time and money and energy. So certain persons say, okay, here's my neurofeedback thing here. Let's go to the other side of the room over here, and I'm going to hook you up to something different. Sometimes they're exploring like pulse magnetics, transcranial pulse magnetics, or they're exploring, say, microcurrent. I use light and sound. So what do? We're going to go over here, and I know now where you're fixated because they can see it on the screen. For us, we can read the symptomology of it, and it's very accurate, I think. And you say, okay, we're going to focus on this theta area, and we're going to scramble it. We're going to dehabituate. Now, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. This is what they do in convulsive therapy and shock therapy, except they don't target gently a certain frequency band. They wipe the whole table clean. So it's possible to dehabituate patterns. Well, that's a bit extreme. However, now we know we can target it non-invasively and non-traumatically by giving some confusing signals that dehabituate, soften the pattern in that group. So in multimodal intensive neurofeedback, you go over to the other side of the room. I'm making this up, you know what I mean. And you have some process, and you say, okay, now that we've done that, now we're going to give you the kale that you don't want to eat. We're going to give you a brainwave set that is, antithetical, that it's like the good thing that should be happening that you can't do. We're going to reconnect you with that. And then, I don't know, we get a lollipop or something, but there's going to be some kind of reinforcement or reward process. So it's disconnect, reconnect, reward. And frankly,
I love that. I feel like I use that in my business already with different wording, so that's really cool. What kind of rewards would you give someone though?
well, the reward can be neurological or psychological. The point is that they get a message that what they permitted to happen, that they ate the kale. You know what I mean. That
Yeah.
they did what they're supposed to do, so you reward that. You can do it psychologically, and it works quite well, or you can do it neurologically. Say with a NeuroVIZR, then you can give them something yummy later in the day. That's in that domain. That's in that domain, and
Which one do you consider yummy?
well, I don't know. I like chocolate cake, but the I don't know. That's a subjective thing. But the point is that the psychological should also be the physiological, meaning reward, something that reinforces the change they made. That
Okay, so not like a yummy NeuroVIZR, what I was thinking was
yeah,
like
sure, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
You can, but not right away. The reward should be just a little bit later. And then, if it's in that 2-hour window of neuroplastic sensitivity, then, it's pretty sure that it's going to associate. Just don't point them, if they're going south, don't point them east. Just keep them going in the same direction.
Okay, and then my last question, with the work that I do with emotional therapy and helping people close trauma loops, etc.,
Sure.
which one should I do before they go into a session with me? If we're trying to disconnect them from childhood trauma and reconnect them with who they are.
Yeah, okay. Now we're moving more into classic therapeutic models, and the NeuroVIZR has the ability to be functional within a therapeutic model, which is a bit different than a personal wellness model. So you see that, right now, I would say, in respect to everybody else that happens to be here, Ariel, why don't you connect with me, and why don't we have, if you're willing, a private conversation where we can explore it more at length without eating everybody else's time too much. Can we do
You,
that?
that's awesome. Thank you guys for
Okay,
hearing
yeah,
all
you're
that.
welcome. So, hey, guess what? I'm again, if you're listening, if you're watching, within the hour, if you'd like to buy a brand new awesome NeuroVIZR with a 30% discount, go to the website, Coffee Chat 30, Coffee Chat 30. It's still backwards, and you save a bunch of money and you get an amazing tool. So there you go. All right, Tracy, Christine, I'd love to meet some new folks. Marlon, I see you there. What's up? Another old,
Well,
yeah.
firstly, you're such a geek and I love you.
Well, all right,
You're
okay. I'll
such
take
a
it. I'll
geek.
take it. Believe me. Thank
You're
you.
such a geek. I love it. I just try and like integrate even a tenth of what you're saying.
Okay.
I had written an email, this is probably at least a month ago,
Uh,
and had expressed to the guys in the office that I was actually having some like negative responses.
okay.
And they said, oh, put it on the Facebook page. I'm like, nah, I don't want to be critical of my friends' stuff. So I
Okay.
thought maybe this was a little bit more private.
So let's do it public live.
Well, it was like, how do I do this?
Okay, give me
But
10 words or less. What's the thing?
I looked up what I was doing, and it was, hold on, I'm bringing up to see recently I did the protocol that was the dehabituator.
Mm-hmm.
So the sequence that it gave, high, low, dehabituate, and then emotional flow, I think is at the end.
Sure.
And I was finding, and I was doing it in the prescribed way,
No
day after
prescriptions.
day.
Yeah.
Well,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
day
Okay.
after day.
Yeah.
And I was finding that my coping skills
Uh-huh.
were shattered. And
Okay.
I was just not handling life. I also found that the one that was for calm
Yeah.
made me feel really agitated.
Okay, that's paradox. Well, Marlon, come on. What else is new, right?
I know, and but you know me, I have a kind of a hypersensitivity,
You do. Okay,
So
okay, can I go to it quickly? Because I'm trying to respect everybody
yeah,
here. Same thing. I'm very happy given a chance to spend some personal time with you. So I'm not flipping you
okay,
off. It's just
okay,
that one, it takes a bit more time. The other, I don't want to get too personal.
yeah,
But
yeah,
essentially, okay, I'll go back to chocolate cake. I learned a long time ago that I really enjoy chocolate cake, especially heavy ones, not like the fluffy ones. And one piece is great. And I figure, well, if one piece is great, two pieces has got to be awesome. And then what I found was this thing called the Arndt-Schultz law from economics, the law of diminishing returns, where halfway through the second piece, my pleasure was not increasing. Actually, it was starting to, but I would go for it. And the third piece, well, that was a lesson learned. So each and every one of us has a certain cycle. Earlier, maybe geeky world, but I talked about the circadian integration process. And for some of us, if we push it too fast, we get ahead of the integration and we get to push back. So I would say, just as a simple answer right now, instead of doing it every day, do it every third day. Give yourself time to what I'll say catch up or integrate. Think of it as physical exercise, that if you begin a physical exercise process, but you're getting more assertive than your body can really tolerate. Like, I'm getting older, big surprise, we all are. And what I find is the same amount of physical exercise that I would do for benefit, now I have some amount of soreness that tells me I'm doing too much too quickly. The weird thing, and everybody, well, you know, I have a big background in massage therapy and body work. I would love full rock and roll body work. I mean, it's like, let's go for it. Now it's like, I think that was, you know, the next day I think, oh, wow, I have to, like, I can't go high. I got to take it down to kind of medium now because I'm less able to integrate the process at a tissue level. So pace yourself. Try to achieve the most by doing the least. Simple things done well work well. So more is not always the answer. That's why I backed off on the prescription. Those are routines. They're meant to be referential. But because they're generalized, I mean, I don't know, you know, exactly the sensitivity. So Marlon, you know, you've got a great background in yoga and all these things. Pace yourself, and I think you'll be pleased. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Here we are. We're roughly at the halfway point. I have to find out who is Deep Master. What's going on? I see your name, you're muted, and I don't see your face. Um, can you can you reveal your
Right.
identity?
Hi. Not in a position to put my camera on at the moment, but
Oh, that's
I've just
cool.
woken up.
I'm fascinated.
That's actually my real name. So
That's your real name?
yes, it is.
Wow. Deep Master.
I'm from India, so Deep is an Indian name actually.
Okay.
And
But
it means light. Yeah.
you're not in India anymore, I guess.
I am. I'm
You
in
are.
India at the moment. Yes,
Where are you? What city?
in Mumbai.
In Mumbai. It's either Mumbai or Mumbai, pretty much. You know, I'm in relation
Bombay,
to
yeah.
a guy in Jaipur right now, and I thought, well, that's anomalous because everybody I talk to, where are you? I'm Mumbai. So, okay. Hi, I'm
Hi.
pleased for you to.
No.
That's an incredible name. Okay, you
So
like
deep
that?
actually means light. It doesn't mean, deep in English. So it's
Okay.
a Sanskrit name.
Well,
But yeah,
that's even more
yeah,
light master. Come on.
yeah. But I've
Okay,
been
so
using the visor for the last week now. Just
only
wanted to
1
say,
week. Okay,
I
welcome.
got it a couple of months ago, but I just started using it last week, and I'm loving it actually. But I still need to learn
Why?
more about,
Yeah, why do you love it?
all the.
Why do you love
Sorry,
it? Why do you
sorry.
love it? You say you
Why do
love
I love it?
Yeah, why?
Um, it's really helping me relax. It's
Mm,
helped me also fall asleep a couple of days ago when I couldn't actually fall asleep, and I had to. I mean, it was already pretty late.
yeah,
It's. I mean, I've just tried a couple of the features. Mostly, it's helping me relax at the moment.
yes.
When
Hey,
I'm feeling
that's the
a little
ticket.
worked up.
That's the
Yeah,
ticket. That I oftentimes say that uh, a fundamental skill that we seem to have lost is deep conscious relaxation. That, you know,
right,
I also say that the brain that can change when change is required is a healthy brain. And one of the most fundamental changes is you go from busy to not busy. You go from waking to sleeping. And
right.
that ability to shift from action to non-action back to action is the basis of adaptation. So you're on the right road. You know, explore, you know, relaxation may not be the goal, but it is the gateway. It's absolutely the gateway because so many things work better when you know how to let go.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. How did you hear about the NeuroVIZR in Mumbai? That's interesting to
Uh,
me.
It popped up on my Instagram, and it looked pretty
Hi,
interesting.
it's
And
me.
and I was traveling to London, so I ordered it there. I think it wasn't
Okay.
available in India at the moment. At
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. Well, Deep, I'm very happy to meet you. I haven't
Likewise.
for a while, but I've spent a great amount of time, mostly in northern India in the past. So and like 4 days, 3 days, 4, I had a great Indian meal, lunch with a friend. We're walking in and went by a restaurant. I said, "Oh, haven't had that for a while." So you just
Yeah.
reminded me. It was a good tikka masala. So yeah.
Nice.
It
So
was
great to meet you, and look forward to maybe being in touch on further questions and learning more
sure.
about this.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
everybody keep your eyes open. I guess it's going to be, I don't know how it's going to be announced, maybe on Facebook, but we have this new community circle. Circle is an app, and I think it's released, I mean, maybe today, I don't know, but it's a multi-level mall of great stuff, all kinds of different angles, and there are going to be some courses and papers and tons of stuff, so that it runs as an adjunct to the website, but is really meant for people that already have the device and they want to grow and explore in it. I think it's going to be real cool, real good. Okay. Christine, I see your name.
What's
Hi.
that called? Garnet Circle what?
I don't know, I think it's called Community Circle. You know, there's a lot of stuff I know. There's a lot I don't know. So that's why we have a company and my team is good. But yeah, I think community circle. Look on the Facebook community or somehow they'll let you know. So I think it's launching like already or tomorrow or today or something real soon. Yeah. So Christine, I'm curious. Where are you? Who are you? Do you mind?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Huh?
Sorry, I should be more tech savvy. I don't even
Welcome to my world. Yeah. Okay, you're on mute again.
Okay, I don't know.
You are.
Hi.
Hi.
Uh okay,
Welcome.
I just see a black screen now.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, I joined kind of late, but I see Ariel, I believe. I will say she's the one who helped me make the NeuroVIZR purchase in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
A
Scottsdale.
couple,
Cool.
yeah, a
Uh-huh.
couple of months ago.
All right.
Um, I I love it so far.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I just want to share it with everyone,
Hmm.
everybody that I can, because I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Um, yeah, I mean it is. And whoever has tried it, I will say, usually I go with the chakra massage one to be like, oh, here, try this cool thing.
Okay.
Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like it
most
too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. And most people feel like calm. A couple of people have told me that it like energized them in a good way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Hmm. Well, my favorite these days, and I'm the most anomalous user in the whole world. So, don't don't do what I do because I'm all over the place. I'm creating new things and testing, and so my use habit is erratic. However, recently, um, I don't know, like they're all my children, if you know what I mean. It's when I do a session, it's difficult for me to not be thinking about it because I made it. It's like I don't know, like a songwriter listening to the song that they wrote. So I've got that problem. Some of us have a similar problem where we analyze too much. We're control freaks, tiki talkie all the time. But anyway, aside from that, I don't know why I told you that, but that
Mhm.
I'm so much enjoying with benefit. Like, it's weird that I get surprised that it works. It's like, wow, this stuff really works. So gamma gamma is maybe because I've been doing a bunch of research, and I'm attracted back to that. But uh, I think there's this thing called the power law, 80/20 it's called. And probably, okay, I'm taking a risk because I don't know if it's true, but that um, 80% of the time we'll use 20% of the app. I think because there's so much, and that
Right.
we kind of like it's we kind of find it's like a box of mixed chocolates. I'm not going Forrest Gump, but that you end up like I don't like the coconut ones. It's like but I do like the like the moosey ones, right? So I don't want anybody to try to use all of the sessions in the app. It's like a department store. You know, if you don't have a kid, you don't need to go to the infant department. You know, go in the app where it seems attractive and reasonable, and you know, take your time and exploring it. Like Paula, who was here, but I guess isn't now. I don't, or maybe you are
Here.
here. Okay, hi Paula. There are just more people here. There we go. Okay, that, you know, she has a particular use style. She's one of the earliest dedicated users. She was using even my earlier pre-device, the Neurolite, which is quite a different configuration. So, you know, I'm heartened by the fact that over the course of what, 7 or 8 years, I don't even know how long, I'll say 5 or 6 minimally, that Paula, as an example, is a matured user and uses it with craft at the point, so that, you know, the honeymoon it only lasts a certain amount of time. And you know, I've had people say, oh, there's these other devices like Lucia or something, and you know, the patterns are really bright and amazing. I said, well, yeah, you know, like how many times can you go to the circus? You know, I've been doing the light and sound stimulation now since the mid 80s. Good grief. So, you know, okay, yeah, but at a certain point, it's like, other than just a kind of a sensational entertainment, by the way, which is fantastic, what's the actual benefit other than a thrill ride? And that's where I try my best to deliver is yummy stuff, engage, enrich, enjoy. However, like physical exercise, that to get to the point where there's actually benefit, where the benefit is the reinforcing element. You know, I'm a boring guy. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. I don't do psychedelics anymore. And it's like, ah, man, what do I do? I just want, you know, something. So, well, I just bought, you know, I had a birthday, so I bought myself. I'm pointing to an awesome automated massage chair. Incredible. But the because I can just do it, right? It's and sometimes I use the NeuroVIZR because, you know, I just want something. Okay, I'm a meditator and all these things, you know. Okay, hello God, here I am. But sometimes it's like I wish I could take a shot of tequila or something, you know, just to like bump it. And so sometimes I do that. And frankly, the dehabituators is like, oh, that's pretty good. You know, 5 minutes, boom. It's like a shot of tequila for me. I'll do the beta uh, dehabituator because I'm like, you know, beta stuff. But also, I do say that I practice, aside from classic meditation, I'll skip all that, deep conscious relaxation. I really encourage everybody to like just a minute before lunch at some point and a minute after lunch, just start there and let go. You know, sit back, close your eyes if you want, and see if you can regenerate that fundamental skill of becoming increasingly more relaxed and staying consciously aware. Because most of us, when we start to relax, because we're so sleep deprived and like sympathetic charged, you know, boom, we fall into sleep. And that's a very slippery slope. However, you know, that fourth state of consciousness, the hypnagogic, hypnopompic, you know, that kind of thing, you know, like it's yoga nidra is what it's called classically for, I don't know, deep, if you know how much you're in, you mentioned Sanskrit, but you know, Huberman, and he says he made the term, he didn't take the term, he took it from another teacher, but non-sleep deep relaxation. I think that's what he calls it. This is something that you can learn at an accelerated level if you do the after the light and sound end cool down. If you give yourself 5 or 10 minutes to practice going into, and staying with it. It's hard to stay with it why? Because we just don't have the habit. We don't have the practice. We don't have the practice. So I don't know. I'm sort of going all over the place a little bit. Help me. Bring me back. Bring me back. What do you want to know? Doug, come on, man. You got a buddy up here. Help me.
I want to know something.
Okay, Sundari.
Hi.
Hi.
Um, hi. Um, can you talk about the group app that you're doing?
Oh, that thing. Okay.
Oh, that's exciting to
Um,
me.
yeah. We're calling it NeuroVIZR, and
Mhm.
it's not available yet. We're still testing it. Big story there. But the idea is to have a number of people doing the same session simultaneously at the same time. So we're getting pretty good at it. Where if there are, say, 10 or 15 people, that they can all have the same session at the same moment, the same time. Now, right now, the phase we're at is that it requires external speakers so that we can simultaneously do the light aspect, but coordinating all the different headphones is a little bit difficult right now, technically. So
Yeah.
it's a feature where everybody would be hearing the same thing from well-placed external speakers. I'll say something about that quickly. We've got not that much time, about 5, 7, 8 more minutes. And by the way, this is the last time I'll say it. If you want to buy a new visor, even if you have one or anybody listening, by the top of by whatever, the end of this 1 hour, if you go to the website and you put in Coffee Chat 30, all one word, Coffee Chat 30, you can have one for 30% off. That's a lot of money. So,
I have a question about that, Garnet.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I think I did text you, but I have the prototype and then I
Yeah.
have the first iteration.
Yeah.
And
You can sell
um
those on eBay and make some money. Okay.
I have a signed prototype. And
Hmm.
so it would be good for me to take advantage of this 30% off, I would think.
I agree. I
Okay.
agree. It's functionally the same, but it's a lot more stable. And mechanically, we're not 3D printing it anymore. Plus, it looks really cool.
Well,
And
also if you're offering these new and like this group thing, I would think having the later model would probably be more advantageous.
Well, yes, and I don't know the truth about this, but I think the prototype would also work, but it depends on the firmware. So,
Right.
now I'm entering into a domain I only know about, but I don't know exactly. But yeah, I would say,
Okay.
if you've got the money, it's a big saving, and you'd really like, this one. It's just really nice.
Okay, I'm buying it now.
Okay. The question came through about, yeah, in the website. Sometimes it seems elusive as to where it is, but there is not only a personal guide about everything and most things in general, but there is also a specific 80-page guide on the microdosing. And that is highly recommended if you're interested in the microdosing. It's an attractive dive, yeah, kind of nerdy, but it also gives it looks at microdosing neurologically instead of a romanticized psychedelic perspective. And right now, I've begun to let you know, we'll see what happens. But both with Paul Austin of Third Wave, great organization, and Hein in Rotterdam with Microdose Institute, we've begun a collaborative discussion that the attraction is to create some courses that approach the knowledge of microdosing from a neurological and brain priming perspective, and to take the emphasis off the fact that you have to take a psychedelic compound. So that's on the near horizon. I've got about 5 minutes left. I just got a prompt. And does anybody have any kind of final something? I love these things. I look forward to them. Um, uh, Partly because it's just fun to learn together. And so help me. What do I need to learn that I don't know that you have a question about? Any one of you. Come on. Don't be shy.
Hi again. Sorry,
Hi.
I'm still trying to figure out how to work this. Um,
That's a good point. What's your question?
it's not a question actually. I just wanted to share and say, and I don't know if this is just like I'm imagining this, but I
Mhm.
feel like after I used the visor after like a good 30-minute, almost an hour meditation,
Yeah.
after that, I feel like it's even more um it's brighter and fractalier. I don't know how to word it. And
Yeah. It is because your brain is more receptive. I'll say on the extreme that there are folks that are either, and this is direct experience, folks that have neuroexhaustion, like a burnout, and
uh-huh.
they will just see gray. And also persons with significant PSD and infused trauma, they'll oftentimes not see any colors. And then as they progress out, they start to see colors and patterns and the whole thing, all the way up to the more that, and I'll use this like overused concept, the more that you open and let go, the more that your brain is willing to pay attention to novelty and discovery. It just keeps on lighting up. And I'll finish up right now with the fact, I mean, this is for a lot of you, it's not me, that when I do deep conscious relaxation, let alone a meditative process, but I say, I'm just going to kick back. I close my eyes and, the colors and the lights and the patterns all start to come. So it's innate to the brain. The brain this is brain language where the brain speaks to itself all the time. And the NeuroVIZR is not causing it. The NeuroVIZR is enabling it. It's that in these new neuroanthropologists, they refer to the brain as having neuro-gnostic structures, gnostic like wisdom, Gnosticism, Gnostic, neuro-gnostic structures. So our brain does this. That's why I categorize, to make it simple, sort of, that we have an ordinary mind and an extraordinary mind. And that the extraordinary mind knows how to, well, it has knowing without thinking. It's able to process, here's a nerdy term, multifactorial nonlinear information. When it's not A, B, C, D, E, if it's not 1 + 1 = 2, we've got a capacity in our brain to shift into an extraordinary way of encountering information. And we end up knowing things. We can think about what we know, but it didn't take thinking to get there. So, rock and roll. Okay. I think the hour is coming to an end. And I'm really happy that you would spend the time. I appreciate it a lot. It's morning here, late October. The monsoon season is finishing. We had the horrible 50-year floods a couple of weeks ago. We're on the verge of the cool, dry season here in the north of Thailand. Gorgeous blue skies, mellow temperatures, lush and green for a while before the dry season with heat. So hi and bye. Thank you sincerely. Please feel free to keep in touch. And I'm getting prompts from my team. It's like, Garnet, stop talking. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Ciao. Thanks, Garnet.
Thank you for taking
Thanks,
the time.